Hello everybody, welcome back. Today in this video I'm going to show you how to make a simple mallet, a wooden mallet out of natural materials that you can find in the woods or in the forest or even in the parks nearby. You'll need to get several different sizes of branches or logs and have them ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a fairly good size one. I went ahead and prepared a piece of wood that I'm going to use for the mallet. And this is going to be the handle right here. The tools that you're going to need in this project, you're going to need a small handsaw. And this is the Japanese type handsaw. Good quality again. We're going to need the Japanese rasp, the Shinto rasp. We might need this hammer, but we'll see. A scrap of wood is always handy to have nearby, with a couple nails, and I'll show you how that'll work. And this is going to be one of the main tools you're going to be using, is the gouge and chisel set, and of course our favorite tool, the woodworking knife. Okay, so oh yes, and a little bit of glue. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to look at my piece of wood that I'm going to use. This is a fairly good size chunk. It's about the same weight as this one. This is made in a factory somewhere. So we're going to just decide on this piece, and you'll see that there's some cracking on it. So we don't want to do our dig a hole in here right where the crack is. So I'm going to go to the opposite one, over to this side, and that's where I want to dig the hole, is right in the middle here. Okay. So now the next thing I need to do is, that's determined, I want to think about the handle and how long the handle that I want the handle to be. So I'm just going to use this mallet as an example, and the handle is about that long. So first thing I do is I cut the handle part so all my pieces are ready to go. Okay, and that was how long I wanted it. Get the handsaw out. And you'll notice we're using our woodworking board. Always use the woodworking board. Protect your table. Okay. And to put the project tool back away, ready for the next time. Okay, so this is going to be the handle. And this is where we want to dig our hole. So what's going to happen is we need to dig a hole that's big enough for that handle to fit in. So I'm going to mark it with a pencil how big it's going to need to be. You may need to help your students with this part of it. Just like that. Okay. Now you see how the project wants to roll around? Well, there's a way to fix that. And that's what this little scrap of wood is for. I'm just going to nail that right to my woodworking board. And that'll give a little pocket for this guy to sit in while we're doing the work. Of course, you don't want to drive that nail all the way in or it'll go into your table. Okay, there. So that's fairly stable. Now we're going to get a gouge out that we're going to use for this task. And this is the one that I'm going to prefer, is this one that looks like that. All right, so that's the gouge I'm going to use. And I'm just simply going to go around the circumference of that circle with the gouge. I'm going to go straight in. So we go all around the entire surface of it, then we start peeling out the inside, and we do this over and over again, probably till it's about 1.5 inches deep. You never want to have the children holding their project like this and pushing like this, because this is a guaranteed way to cut yourself. So you always want to keep your hand out of the way when you're using this tool, or just use the board itself to back it up, like this. Okay? Now the wood that I'm using on this is sycamore. And sycamore, we have a number of sycamore trees here on our campus, and a few weeks ago we had a really big windstorm, and this branch fell out of the tree, and I decided to save it and not let the gardener throw it away. And as you see, it can be something useful and practical. And it was a gift from the tree. Thank you, tree. Thank you, wind. All right, you see how we're starting to get this circle cut in. I'm going to hold this up to it just to double check the size of it. It looks pretty good to me. It just needs to be deeper now. So we'll continue this process until we're about 1.5 inches deep. Now, sycamore is very hard wood, as you can see. It's not an easy wood to dig into. You could definitely find softer woods, and the fresher the wood, the softer it is, whatever species. But this has been sitting out probably for about a month, and it's in the sun, and it's been drying out, and it's gotten hard. If it was wet, if it had just coming out of the tree, then it would be a little easier. Now this particular wood, this is it's not a pine tree, but it's similar to a pine tree. This particular wood is called juniper, and this is going to be a little bit softer than the sycamore, but this juniper is about 20 years old. I've had this around for a very long time. I actually love this wood, and I kept this just to remind me of a school that I taught at about 20 years ago in New Mexico. So I love this wood. And we've made a lot of projects out of this kind of wood before, but that's the last piece that I have. But it can be any kind of wood, really. Whatever you have close by your school. You might even want to take your kids on a field trip to the forest. And make sure you have a saw with you, and that you're not going to get in trouble for cutting a little branch out of a tree. Right now this hole is about 1 inch deep. I'd like to get it a little more deep, maybe 2 inches even. But as you say, using this tool takes more time than if you were to put it on a drill. Like right behind me, I have a machine called a drill press. I could drill this hole in 2 seconds. But this is an activity for the kids to learn basic skills about how to use a gouge to dig out with, and the safe way of holding your projects. And it may take, I don't know, a week for them to make one of these. Working in their main lesson for an hour each day. Or in woodworking class, which is usually about 80 minutes long here at Highland Hall. Let's see if it's working here. Oh, wrong side. Okay, getting there. Now I'm going to use this knife, and I'm going to carve away the end that's going to go in a little bit more. Okay. Well, it goes in there even better. Get an idea what we're going to have here when we're done. I still want it to be deeper though. So We're getting there, it's about 1.5 inches deep now. Okay, make sure there's no chunks of wood hanging around. Make sure the bottom's nice and flat. Okay, we can try our guy in here again. You definitely do not want to cut too much of this off, or you may have to cut it here. If it gets too small, then it'll flop around inside the hole. So you just want to get it deep enough that you need it. And now I'm going to clean up this edge just a little bit here with a rasp. Okay, and then, now, you know, you would think, logic would tell you that now all you have to do is pound it in with a hammer as deep as it'll go and glue it. Well, I'm going to show you a little carpentry trick. So you get plenty of glue in there. I suppose you get too much, but it's not going to hurt anything if you have too much glue in there. But you see it's loaded with glue. It's in like that. And go ahead and drive this in. Now another little trick you can do is once you've got it in, if it's still flopping around a little bit like this one is, well, that'll stop once the glue dries. But this is another little trick you can do with your leftover wedge. Don't do this at home. All right, and that is to and there you go. That is in there. It's in there really good. So let me see if I can try it on something. And of course it'll be much stronger once the glue is dried. Okay. Oh yeah. This works great. So the child could put their name on it, write it on here, and this will be their mallet. Whenever they need a mallet, they've got theirs that they made. And there it is. Easy project for a 3rd grader, and even easier for 4th grade and on. But with 3rd graders, you're going to have to give them a little bit of help. You know, there were a lot of different sequences of tasks here. You know, you have to prepare the tools for them. You'll have to take them out in the woods where they can pick their own wood that they want to make their mallet out of. That's really the best idea, is if they can participate in that activity of going and finding and harvesting the wood that they love and want to use. And now they have an attachment to it. They knew what kind of tree it came from, you know, what forest it came from, and it has a story to it. And they can remember that the rest of their life. And maybe when they're parents, they can give this to their child and say, okay, go over there and pound some flax, pound some papyrus, drive in a tent stake, use it for carving tools. Lots of uses. Don't ever use it on a little brother or sister, though, that's for sure. So that's how we do it. Simple, effective, should last a long time. And they can use it for all kinds of purposes as they get older. I don't know. I mean, I suppose you could use it for anything that you need a hammer for. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.